friends. Welcome to today's episode of Care Sandwich. I've got Mary Ellen Murrah today coming onto the virtual stage right after this video. So hang tight and watch this video so that you can be reminded of what Care Sandwich is all about.
Welcome to Care Sandwich, the podcast where we dive into the success journeys of law firm owners across the country. I'm Margarita Everline, your host and the founder of Marketing Boss, a fractional chief marketing officer firm for law firms. On this show, we'll explore the challenges, strategies, and victories that have shaped law firms and how they wrap every interaction with care. Because we believe that caring isn't just a value, it's a strategy for success. So grab your favorite sandwich, sit back, and let's dig into a conversation filled with insight, inspiration, and of course, a lot of care.
Welcome back, folks. I have a treat for you. I've got Mary Ellen Murrah, who was a legal tech genius and still is now helping law firm owners with their operations. Mary Ellen, come join me on the virtual stage. Tell us all about you and what you do.
Hi, Margarita. Thank you so much for having me on the Care Sandwich podcast. I'm excited to be here. For those folks who don't know me, my name is Mary Ellen Murrah. I'm with the Vista Consulting team. And at Vista, we are all about helping firms with what I would say is probably not the sexiest piece of what they do, but maybe one of the most important things of what they do, which is that operations piece, that running like a business piece. All of the things behind the scenes that don't have to do with the practice of law, but have to do with how you care for your clients, what that client journey looks like, what your intake process looks like, what your accounting looks like, what your internal marketing systems look like. You know, I know you with your company, you help firms that get a bunch of leads, right? You help them get their branding right and hopefully get that phone to ring or get that website form to pop. But then what happens? What happens after that handoff when all of these leads come in? Are firms equipped to deal with them appropriately? Are they getting signing all of the leads they could be signing? Are they caring for those clients through the way? So that's really what we do at Vista, is help those firms with all of those pieces under roof that have to do with the business of law.
I love that. And let's divide and label some pieces of what you just talked about. So law firm owners who are investing in marketing or investing in operations, right? Those are two separate pieces. But what I really appreciated from my interactions with you and your firm is they're really interconnected, and you help make it seamless as far as a customer experience. So like, I like stories, right? So like a story would be your PNC responds to your marketing where you advertise that you care and that they're not just a number and that you're going to take good care of them. And then in your operations, somehow that's not what they experience. So walk us through how you help with that breakdown so that they can actually experience from beginning to end what was promised in the marketing.
Yes, and that is so common, right? We have these great marketing messages, and I think firms really do want to be known as, hey, we really care, and that's important to them, but they're missing that piece. Maybe it's a training piece, maybe it's a procedures piece of what happens next. So maybe the firm owner really truly believes in their heart in client service, and so that's where all their marketing goes. That's what all those potential new clients see, and then they call into the firm and maybe they get a receptionist and they're put on hold for 5 minutes. And then maybe they get to the intake team and that person is got a loud background happening. They seem distracted. You know, maybe that person tells them, hey, you know, my son was just in a car wreck. And they say, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What's your first name? And you're not really getting that, what feels like the care that you expected from all of that advertising, right? So what we do at Vista is most of our engagements with firms start with what we call a firm assessment, which is really us going on site, usually for 2 days, and really getting a sense of everything that's happening under roof at that firm. What do all of these processes look like? What does the training look like? We interview both the owners and the leadership team, but we also interview the entire team. So maybe that's a representative from, maybe that's an intake specialist. Maybe that's also the intake director. Maybe that's a case manager, and look at what do all those pieces look like. Walk me through when the phone rings or the website form comes in, how you all deal with that. Is it documented anywhere? Do you have standard operating procedures? Are there reports that you can look at to say how many leads I had coming in? And then maybe by intake specialist, who's really killing it? And when I know who's really killing it, let me listen to their calls. What are they doing differently? What could they be used as an example for the rest of the firm? So that's really the kind of things that we're looking at. And our work is inherently critical. Law firms do a lot of things right, but we're looking for those things where there might be breakdowns or bottlenecks or lack of training or lack of expectations for the team, and identifying those for the firm and saying, all right, here's what we found. Here's all the things that maybe could use some help. And here's a go forward plan. We'd love to hold your hand and help you implement these things, because that can be the toughest part.
And I love all of this. And I find that oftentimes law firm owners want to do everything but slow down and answer the questions and have these conversations. And I know from experience, I love the way y'all approach things, because it's very similar to what we do, right? We want to outline, audit, like go piece by piece. And that's usually where we find these amazing opportunities. So I can get excited about it. You can get excited about it. How can a law firm owner learn to get excited about slowing down? I'm going to describe it that way because that's how it feels to many law firm owners. That's how they've described it to me. They're like, I feel like you're asking me to just stop. And I don't want to stop.
But you're so right. You're so right. And that's why I started with this, saying like, it's not always the sexiest piece, because it's hard to get excited about those things that are really the fundamentals. But I think for firm owners, if you can couch it in, yes, this might not be the most exciting thing you do today, but this is going to make you money. This is going to enhance your brand. This is going to ultimately, at the end of the day, you can't keep driving a car down the road on a flat tire, right? You have to take that time to pull over to the side of the road, fix that flat tire, and then, man, you can go flying after that.
Many A-type law firm owners are going to just thug it, right?
Yeah. And when you do that, right, if you try to go down the highway on the flat tire, right, you're just going to mess everything up further, right? What could have been something that took a few minutes on the side of the road, man, now you've torn up that whole thing, and it's really bad. You're losing people. So yeah, don't thug it out. Take the time to do those fundamental pieces to get things right, because it's going to help everything sail faster in the future.
I love it. And I'm curious, like, how do you, like, as a person, manage all of these like thought processes that I just shared with you, like in real life, when you're like talking to a law firm owner and they're giving you the, hey, I don't want to do this. Hey, I have other things to do. I don't have time to meet. Like, how do you process that and help guide them through? Because you're known as a operations whisperer. So give us some of your secrets.
Well, that is a great question. And a lot of times it has to come down to delegation. So oftentimes the person that we're working closely with at the firm is not necessarily the owner. The owner doesn't necessarily need to get into the weeds of all of these things. Usually we set up somebody that we call the sustainer. So that's our person that really helps get those things across the finish line, obviously with the owner's blessing. And then we involve other folks as we need it. So if we're working on an intake project, for example, we may be working with our sustainer as well as that director of intake, maybe some of the intake specialists to get their input. So really bringing in those subject matter experts and then reporting that up to the owner. So much of what we do, and I think so much of getting the owner's buy-in, is being able to show some of that concrete data. So having a really good reporting system. And again, the owner doesn't need to get in the weeds of all of those reporting systems. If they can have the scoreboard reports, the are we winning or losing, those high level things that they feel confident things are moving, then that mid-level management level can really dig into the diagnostic kind of reports, those things that tell us where there's bottlenecks, where there might be opportunities for improvement. And then individual team members can have reports that tell them sort of those task things, who do I need to call today? Who has it been more than, 30 days since I've contacted as a client? They can have those more actionable reports. So I think if you can keep the owner doing the highest and best use of their time, and let the other folks, those subject matter experts, be delegated to, sometimes that's how you can get some buy-in on those things.
I love it. So, okay, what is one piece of advice or one area that you find yourself helping law firm owners address gaps in more frequently? And like for me, it's always sales, right? Like we talk about marketing, and I always find myself going to like, well, your customer service and your sales. What's something like that for you, where you just find yourself over and over and over seeing like a pattern?
Yeah, my first instinct is to say intake, but I feel like everybody says intake and sales. So I'm going to go a little bit of a different tact, and I'm going to go with leadership. I think at
Mm,
personal injury law firms specifically, there's not a whole lot of focus on training and developing your leaders. So we take somebody who's really good at something, a tactician, maybe our best case manager, our best paralegal, and we put them in this position where they are now managing people, but we give them absolutely no support in that, no training in that, no, hey, what does it look like to manage a team? What does it look like to have hard conversations? What does it look like to hold somebody accountable and still have that care piece, right? We're on the Care Sandwich podcast. How can we care for people? So I think if we can put a focus on leadership and everybody at the firm is some level of leader, even if they're only leading themselves, right? So giving those people the training and development that they need to succeed in their jobs, giving them the tools to do their jobs, the training to do their jobs, and setting the expectation on what success looks like in that position is so vital. And firms often just gloss over or miss that piece.
I love that, and now that you're saying it, I think it happens in the marketing as well. Like I've noticed a lot of law firms that I've come across where maybe they have like somebody that's like really creative or came up with a good idea once or is good at copy, and all of a sudden they're like a marketing director and they don't know anything about SEO. Like, they don't know how to analyze data. And it's like, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. They can still thrive, but they're like thrust into this role of leadership without that training of like, hey, doing and leading are two very different things. And then you start to like see issues kind of creep in that could have been resolved, I think, if law firms would have been more intentional about a leadership culture. And then on the flip side, like I've seen really amazing successful law firms where leadership is like a core part of how they do everything, and they're constantly empowering, training, teaching, and addressing mindset, and implementing things like EOS, and then you can just see the difference. So I
Oh, a
think that,
million percent. And so
yeah,
often it comes down to those, again, the unsexy piece, the basics, right? Does everybody at your firm have a job description? Before you put this job out there for a chief marketing officer, what is that person going to be doing? What are the skills that we need for this position? What does success look like in this position? How are we going to measure that success? That's where you should be starting before an ad ever goes out or before we put somebody in that position, is really identifying not a people-led position, but this is the position. Who is the right person to put into it? And if we haven't defined it, so often it becomes just like you said, so-and-so is really good at this thing, so we're going to put them in this position. We're not going to define what that position is or what success looks like. And then we're going to get frustrated when our expectations aren't met, right?
yeah, I love it. So Mary Ellen, if somebody's listening and like, okay, I think I need to get some help in this area, how can they get a hold of you?
Yes, I would love to chat with anybody who is feeling a little bit of a squeeze in their operations or feeling like they're growing very fast and their infrastructure can't keep up. Our website is vistact.com. Vista Consulting Team, that's what the CT comes from, vistact.com. My name's Mary Ellen Murrah. I'm on LinkedIn. I would love to chat with anybody who has some of those pain points in their law firm and would like to learn more about what Vista does.
And listen, there's no shame in having any of these problems because, by the way, they're like super common. And the key is that as you're growing and you identify these things, and you just get some help and move along and continue doing your thing. So, okay, Mary Ellen, I have one more question for you.
Yes.
And it's a very important question because, it is called the Care Sandwich Podcast. And I ask it of every guest. What is your favorite sandwich?
My favorite sandwich is a chicken salad sandwich, but it has to be like the fancy chicken salad sandwich where it's got like the cranberries and the almonds and all kinds of extra accoutrements in there. Chef's kiss.
That does sound delicious. I actually made a chicken salad sandwich the other day and I added apples to it. and I added celery because I was craving crunch.
Love it.
And it really hit the spot. So love it. Great taste in sandwiches, great taste in career choices. I really love what you do and how you help law firm owners. So once again, if you were listening and thinking, I really need to get in touch with Mary Ellen, her contact info is attached to this podcast. So check it out, follow up, no shame. You'll get the help that you need, and you'll continue to scale like a boss. So thanks so much for watching this episode. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Care Sandwich. Remember, the way we care for our clients, our teams, and ourselves can make all the difference in our success. Until next time, keep caring.